Security in Brisbane is ramping up as the city welcomes the first leaders for this weekend's G20 summit, and protesters are making the most of the international spotlight, rallying daily to promote their causes with the hope of attracting as much attention as they can. Sunrise correspondent Michelle Tapper is outside the convention centre where the G20 meetings will be held. Michelle, good morning. Now, so far the protests have been fairly peaceful. What are police expecting over the weekend though?
Well, Sam, police are hoping for the best, but they are preparing for the worst. They're not taking any chances. There are snipers on rooftops, restricted airspace, and we've got 7,000 police and soldiers patrolling the streets.
Rioting, vandalising and wreaking havoc. This is what protesters did during the London and Toronto G20 summits.
London 2009, Toronto in 2010 were particularly violent. London police actions resulted in the death of a bystander. Toronto saw over 1,000 arrests in a very short period of time and mass property damage.
Renowned for violent protests, security at a G20 is unparalleled. And Assistant Commissioner Katarina Carroll has been planning for 2 years.
Where the difficulty comes in is, if people start causing damage to property or if there is destruction or people are hurt, we do have to take affirmative action.
7,000 police and military personnel will patrol the streets and skies, and hundreds of cameras will provide surveillance, particularly during protests.
There has been obviously some information and intelligence out there, particularly about carrying out mayhem in areas that haven't got that security overlay.
Concerned about black bloc tactics employed in London and Toronto, where protesters cover their faces and incite violence, police are preparing for mayhem outside of restricted zones. And criminologist Dr. Janet Ransley says this year there's another threat.
It is possible always, of course, that terrorists could infiltrate protests. I'm sure that police are very conscious of that, and that's the explanation for some of the heightened security measures that we're seeing.
So far, 27 protest groups have registered with police, including the Brisbane Community Action Network, who are planning multiple rallies.
Our biggest concern is the way in which the G20 is conducted, in that it's remarkably undemocratic. It occurs behind closed doors and behind layers of security teams, and there's no chance for public debate.
Joining the protest will be the Aboriginal Sovereign Embassy.
Very concerned about deaths in custody. We're very concerned about the accelerated arrest rates of Aboriginal people, the accelerated incarceration rates. We're very concerned about the homelessness of our people.
The convention centre is located in South Brisbane, which is considered the cultural heart of the city. But now it resembles a fortress as the city prepares to welcome leaders from around the world for the G20.
There is 35 internationally protected persons in Brisbane. There are 26 leaders that will be running their countries from Brisbane. So obviously we are obligated to carry out those duties and keep those people safe and secure.
And the first world leader has already arrived in Brisbane this morning. President Jacob Zuma has just touched down from South Africa. Sam?
Okay, it's all starting. Big weekend ahead. Thanks, Michelle.